Look, if you want to know who wants a shutdown, look at the House. Johnson had the House adjourn all this week, so they couldn't even if the Senate had come up with a solution, they couldn't vote on it.
The Democrat caucus here in town, in the Senate, has chosen to shut down the government over a clean, nonpartisan funding bill.
The government shutdown has begun after Congress failed to strike an agreement by the deadline of midnight on Tuesday. The Senate rejected the House-passed GOP bill to extend funding to November 20th. Without a deal, some 750,000 federal workers will be furloughed. A major sticking point of the impasse revolves around the Affordable Care Act. Democrats are demanding funding for health care subsidies that are expiring for millions of people under the Affordable Care Act, or ACA. They want to embed abortion and gender ideology into the U.S. healthcare system, and they want taxpayers to fund it permanently. It's a move the Republicans don't agree with. Right now, the Affordable Care Act is still funded through the end of the year. Kelsey Pritchard, the political communications director of Susan B. Anthony Pro-Life America, has been following what is happening on Capitol Hill. Kelsey, thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
And Kelsey, the ACA is the center of this fight. Despite the shutdown, it will be funded to the end of the year. Can you weigh in on what is happening right now?
Yeah, the ACA has really been a major sticking point between the Democrats and Republicans. And what the Democrats are demanding is, quite frankly, ridiculous. What they want is to continue the subsidies that are going to insurance companies that have plans that cover elective abortion. Even though 60% of Americans don't agree with taxpayer-funded abortion, they're trying to make that go on into the future and with no end in sight. And we're really grateful the Republicans have been standing strong on that point and as a whole on this in this whole situation.
Now, Kelsey, the Hyde Amendment is a provision that has been added to every spending bill over the last 4 decades, ensuring that no taxpayer dollars will directly fund abortion. How can we have the Hyde Amendment and yet still fund abortions through the ACA?
So the Democrats were really crafty when they passed Obamacare a few years ago. And a lot of people don't know this, but what they did was they created this workaround in Obamacare that essentially still allows subsidies to go to plans that fund elective abortion. They did that by creating a separate funding stream. And they even stripped the ability for us to know how many abortions these plans have paid for with the help of our money. And so there's no transparency whatsoever. And the Hyde Amendment, of course, is very important to our country. The Charlotte Lozier Institute just came out with a report yesterday on the 49th anniversary of the Hyde Amendment showing that 33,000 babies were saved just last year alone because of the Hyde Amendment. So we need that applied equally across all federal policies, and it's very important that if they continue the ACA subsidies, that they make sure that Hyde is included in that.
Now, the big beautiful bill ended Medicaid funding to abortion providers, a big win. Yet we're still funding abortion through the ACA. How does that fight relate to this one?
Well, what we saw during our defunding efforts to stop the Medicaid funding from going to abortion businesses like Planned Parenthood in this country is that people, even people center or even some on the left, even those who call themselves pro-choice, they do not want taxpayers to have to fund abortions and have to fund abortion businesses. So just like with that fight, with this one, it's the popular thing to stop this kind of practice, to stop the American taxpayers from having to pay for elective abortions. And we think this is something that it should be a common sense principle for people. Now, thankfully, we are seeing a lot of success with the funding measure so far. We've had 42 Planned Parenthoods that have closed or will close by the end of this year. So we're hoping that Republicans stay strong, and based on our conversations with members and staff, we really believe they will, and that they're bought in and making sure that if subsidies do pass, the Hyde Amendment will be applied here.
Kelsey, thank you for being with us today.
Thank you. God bless.